articles. So in today's video, in today's live, we're going to have a little chat about what's going on in Russia and Ukraine, what's happening with inflation and the latest regulations and those. I'm going to take a look at some charts, and we're going to take a look at some of the latest articles and have a chat about NFTs and talk a little bit about the whole space as we always do. All right, so why don't we start right away? Let's start by taking a look at the latest news about what's going on in Russia and Ukraine. Can you move it to full screen so we can share?
Yeah, it's good now.
Thank you. All right, yeah. Can you put full screen up? Okay, cool. All right, so let's go. So the first thing we're gonna take a look at is a nice tweet from Willy Woo that I came across yesterday. So interesting to see here is that a lot of people in the markets are social networks, Discord, Twitter, they're talking about how Ukraine and Russia and the world is pulling out a lot of the volume from the markets, and especially in crypto as well. And this is a nice graph, of course. This is across multiple years. So I think this is 2017, 2018, 2019 here at this peak. And then we go down to this point as it's 2021, 2022, just at the bottom. But what's interesting to see is that for this exchange, local Bitcoins, which is a Ukraine exchange, the actual volume didn't change from the rest of the world. So it's not like, people started putting money out of money. And I think that's reasonable, right? If you kind of, get trapped into a conflict and you're at war, you're probably not thinking about selling or buying Bitcoins. So volume will be, somewhat low in the coming future, but it hasn't changed from the rest of the world. We haven't seen a major shift. So it's interesting to see. And of course, we've seen a lot of the effects of the war. And we talked about in our previous videos. We've seen a major dump at the beginning, a major dip, and then a good recovery. The next big piece of news that we're going to talk about with the TheCoinOracle as well and look at some charts is the CPI report. So the Fed released the CPI inflation report, and inflation is now up to 7.9%. This is the highest we've ever been since 1982, and I made a joke about this the other day on our channels. I think we're gonna soon see the last two numbers flip, and it's gonna be 1928 all over again. If you're not familiar with 1928, take a look online. It was a pretty bad year for the whole economy and financial sector. So Bitcoin's plus 40K breakout as US CPI inflation data confirmed to 7.9% estimates. So what's good to see here, I find it kind of interesting. I'm going to take a look at the charts in a second, but it's basically the fact that Bitcoin didn't massively move after the CPI news. And I think we knew what was going to happen. So it's always a case of markets moving on rumors, and then, buy the rumors, tell the news, right? So we knew that nothing crazy was going to happen, and nothing crazy really happened. We touched 40K, and then we went back down to 38, 39 level where we're settling right at the moment. We're going to talk about Bitcoin levels in a moment. Right. So interest of time, I'm going to leave it to you, TheCoinOracle. You want to take a look at the latest metrics? You want to take a look at some cool metrics around what's going on at the moment? Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, if you don't follow us on Twitter, our tag is TheAlgoOracles. We posted the breakdown of the inflation report with all the different readings and all our different consideration of it. So the official number is 7.9, but we pointed out that 1/3 of inflation report is actually shelter. I think in this tweet, is it? Yeah, 1/3 is shelter, 33%, and is understated, like it's only 4.7%, while we know the rents are up 18% and 19%. I did some digging, and the way these the shelter, the rents are calculated again. There's a cycle every 6 months, so you go to every household older and you ask, like, for example, the price of the rent or the price of the mortgage, and this cycle takes 6 months. So to actually see this reading, the inflation, it takes a lot of time. So in the future we'll see these metrics going up. So this is why it is a big part of the inflation, which is keeping it very low, while prices of houses, as we know, are very expensive at the moment and getting higher. We wrote down breaking down.
We're seeing the London markets, London housing market, UK housing market going absolutely crazy. It's been going for years, so that's definitely true.
I mean, yeah, when you print like 40% of the total supply of dollars, you probably will expect inflation.
Yeah, I think it's interesting. It's interesting to see how it affects different countries as well. Like the UK has been affected as much as the US in some of the markets, and definitely real estate is one of those.
I mean, yeah, politicians tried to kind of give other reason of why there is inflation. They're definitely gonna give the the guilt to the war, but then the main reason is just that the amount of money printing that they've done is definitely like injecting. They're basing the currency itself. It's definitely gonna. It's a way of like getting away the wealth of people without having to rent houses, to raise taxes. That's my point of view on it. And in general, I think that the situation was already bad, and Russia took advantage of it. Like from definitely the geopolitical side, they always wanted to kind of create a buffer around their borders, and they always were keen around claiming back territories like Ukraine. But for the financial side, I think they were still waiting on like a very unstable situation. Like for example, like inflation is running very high, and they are the main producer of most of commodities, oil, copper, and everything. So they weren't expecting this big reaction from the rest of the world, or actually like shutting down them from everything, because like for example Europe depends from the oil of Russia. So they thought like they were kind of untouchable, but at the moment like they shut down, they closed them out from Swift, and they're still trading oil and gases, but Euro is trying to get away from it. And yeah, there's massive supply shock, energy shortages, and you can see that all the price of commodities, oil skyrocketed. I think that I can see here, but yeah, copper did a plus 50%. Russia is like the most producer of it on the London Stock Exchange.
Have you got nickels as well? Have you got a chart for nickel as well? That was
I did, but I think we didn't get it on the slides. Yeah, all the commodities are crazy. They look like shitcoin. Look at this.
An interesting thing that I
this is wheat.
yeah. A crazy thing that I spotted as a way to tell.
And look at which one is the first producer, exporter, Russia.
Oh, I mean, of course.
Fifth one is Ukraine as well. So yeah.
One thing that I noticed today that I didn't think about is uranium. So uranium is actually also moving up quite a lot in the last couple of days, and I'm wondering if that has to do as well with the possible fears of
use the palladium as well, which is very used.
Conflicts. Yeah.
All the commodities like the true value, true currency of not say currency, but like the true financial value of Russia is on commodities, and right now their ruble is tanking, but actually everything they produce and everything they have is going up in value so much. I'm not saying it's benefiting because the country is definitely suffering from all the financial sanctions, but in some way all of this is increasing the value of one of the most
definitely
font of revenue. We were talking about inflation. The expectation for the market, like there's maybe no. Okay. Yeah, I wanted to talk more about like rates, interest rates. So we know that the next week there's gonna be interest rates, like rate hikes. The Feds announced that they will start tightening, and the market started already pricing in these rate hikes. And 1 week ago, almost 6 or 7 rate hikes were predicted they were gonna happen this year, and then we see a slight correction. And one of the things that I noticed, then the moment we started correcting on the predicted yield on the bonds, which is actually a signal. I think the most important one is actually Euro-dollar future, but I couldn't get the chart here. But this is one of the metrics that kind of price in the fact that the Feds are gonna raise rates. And yeah, one of the interesting things at the moment, the expectation of the market, seeing the actual situation more unstable, and they thought that probably the Feds are gonna take more like a chill approach, slow approach, instead of going hawkish like they were saying. And the moment the expectation went down, Bitcoin bounced up. So I kind of saw this relationship. And another very cool relationship that I saw is like the VIX is basically is an index that tracks the volatility of all the markets, and every time it spikes up, risk of asset usually are the one that tank the most. So you can see that in this kind of macro uncertainty, Bitcoin is not really trading like a store of value at the moment, but it's more trading like a risk of asset. And yeah, we saw like drawdowns on the main markets, Bitcoin as well. So this is an interesting metrics. That usually every tops of the VIX, which is the volatility index, was bottom of Bitcoin. And yeah, one
I feel
more
like
things.
we always did a rule of shorting the VIX, so it was a bit of a meme.
Yeah. One more things I wanted to say, like people say that rates, hiking rates, tightening financial condition is bad. But then if you look back in the past, every time Fed started tightening, the first rate hike there was definitely a very big correction. But then overall, this is like from 99 to 2000. Actually, the S&P 500 went up from 12%. This is 2016.
I mean,
2019.
one thing that I'm wondering is like, this rate hikes, they will definitely have a long-term effect. Now, in terms of trading and in terms of cryptos, and let's making the assumption that on the long term cryptos is going to decouple for it's a stock market as it is today, then I feel like most of the hikes really have an effect on the news, right? It's a lot about when they get announced. Then on the long term, they will probably have an effect as long as we correlate to traditional finance, as long as we correlate to the markets, as long as crypto is correlated, then they will always be affected. But on the short term, I feel like as long as the announcements don't contain anything unexpected, I don't really see that much impact happening in the future, even if they continue announcing them. We expected, we know what's going to happen. We're not going to see these massive dips again. Of course, if they decide to duplicate them, double them, or so on, then I would start thinking that the market would definitely react to that.
I think the Feds here is trying to make the job from the market itself. So it's trying to scare and the market try to make the actual market react and price in without them even do anything. So that's why at the beginning you saw this kind of drawdown and actually things are fine because the actual approach is way more chill. They always try the market to price in and to actually react the right way they want. And then they actually go in a more chill approach. And as you can see, the actual period after the hikes is always kind of positive. So there is the argument that the hikes are bad for the economy, for the market, but usually the recession starts straight after. So if you see, 2008, the period before the great crash of 2009, you can see the rate hikes. Like at the end of the rate hikes, you can see the consequences of the slowing down of the economy. The cost of capital becomes high. We know that the system is highly leveraged and in debt. So the moment the house of cards starts falling because everyone is in debt, and then the debt is so high, especially the even the United States has such a big debt, and they cannot really. If you see the yield curve, here sadly you cannot see the big one, but then it's downtrending, and the resistance is actually at 2%. I don't think they will be able to bring it up. Like you kind of.
I think one thing I want to mention, like I'm not sure everybody listening in kind of fully gets the whole idea. Why do we have rate hikes and what do they do? I think it's important to take a break here and kind of explain that as well. So we kind of get into the space quite a lot, but then not everybody will fully get that. And I think in short, the idea is that inflation's rising. Now, what that means is that the money in your pocket is going to be worth less. The buying power of your money is decreasing. That's pretty much what it means, right? So everything grows and your money stays the same. So you get paid the same amount, therefore your money's worth less. And what the Fed can do is tightening the rates that they apply to companies, the rates that they're applying to taxes and so on. So by doing these hikes, so by increasing the rates, they allow us to bring inflation down and then basically trying to stay stable as much as possible. And this is what pretty much we're seeing now. There's a reason why we're seeing this at the moment, because we're being so high on inflation. And of course, this has been driven by COVID, 2 years of COVID, and now possible war, and all these things. It's historically always been really bad for inflation.
I think one of the things to outline here is especially like the government is running on deficit, so it's spending way more money than it's actually getting. So like the debt to GDP is like 130%, and like all these are definitely an effect of the general macro situation, but also the massive quantitative easing that they've done. So the printing of money itself.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
like
absolutely. No, yeah.
one interesting fact is like most of the baby boomers are gonna retire now, and they actually cannot even cover up to 25% of what they promised with their pension. So there is two way of actually doing that. Either doing an explicit default, so not paying what you say you're gonna pay, or do an implicit one. So you just print the money, you actually giving back the amount they were promised to, but that the purchasing power of it is not gonna be what they were expecting. So yeah, people that are going retire in the coming years, don't rely too much in your pension if you leave. Yeah, in general, I think all the states are kind of the same situation.
I think as we go forward, relying on pension and relying on retiring is going to be harder anyway. Should we jump on the charts? I think we've been
yeah, I'm gonna be very
time.
fast. Yeah, one of the things that when actually the situation they're not tightening after, I wanted to say there's actually the real crash is when they're easing, because they see the situation is going bad and then they have to start easing again. So yeah, when they actually do the hikes, is the situation usually is fine. But one of the things I wanted to say, we are in unprecedented times. So usually they start hiking very sooner on the cycle, but we are very, very late. We have a very high inflation, and unemployment rate is still at 4%. And the thing, we're still at 0% of the rates itself. So there's a lot of room to go, and the system is already very fragile. Like the yield curve is. I couldn't put it here, but it's almost inverted. Like one of the posts that I shared is like one of the main metrics to value if the signals a recession is the yield curve, and it's basically the spread between the 2 years and the 10 years, and it's actually inverting now. So it's basically, I don't want to explain too much, but it's basically the expectation on the short term are worse than the long term. Yeah, this one here, and yeah, anyway, sorry for the okay, I think you can go over the charts.
All right, cool. Let's jump into that. So this is what you guys probably want to know. This is what you guys want to hear. You know, what's going to happen next? What should I buy? What should I not buy? Once again, as we would say, we're not here to give you financial advice. You should always do your own research. You should always find, your own interests and figure it out for yourself. But still, we can share our knowledge. We can share our channels. So definitely don't forget to subscribe. Don't forget to join our Discord. It's going to be linked in the description down below. Don't forget to join Telegram. You can ask any questions anytime. We're going to be very, very glad to help you out. All right, so I like to start with the USDT dominance, and we have this very long-term trend line up here that we've been looking and monitoring for the last couple of months. And once we break below this line, it's what we call money season, and we've seen this in the past. And I brought this up a couple of times. So if you zoom out a second, there we go. So that was the last time that we broke it. And if you then look at Bitcoin, this is July. That's exactly when altcoins and Bitcoin started picking up again. So this is what we're waiting for here. We're waiting to break this line again. It's possible that we will have to retest the highest point before we break downwards. So we'll just have to see what happens. But it is a very good indicator. In terms of Bitcoin dominance, we've seen Bitcoin ranging in dominance in the last couple of weeks, I think since the beginning of March, which means we've been kind of shifting between ALTS and BTC since then. This just simply means that once we break this line, then it's going to be alt season. So alt season is when altcoins go absolutely crazy. And then if you look at a couple of charts, sorry about this. So look up a couple of charts. So
yeah, so today then looking at the moving average, we just got rejected from the 7 moving average. Like it looked a bit bearish today, like the price action.
Yeah. I mean, we are getting rejected over time from I think it's the 200 days moving average here. So we've been in this downtrend for a while. One thing that I find interesting is that we definitely had a shift. We've seen a shift, we've seen what we wanted. So if we make this chart a little bit bigger. So we've seen the shift, guys. So we were in this big downtrend for a long time. Since the November last year, we downtrended all the way down to 44,000 when the war broke out in Ukraine, and now we kind of brought that downtrend, and you see this downtrend channel, and we are outside of the channel. So now we're trading outside of the channel. We didn't go back in, which is very positive in my opinion. And now we're trading outside of this channel, and we're trading sidewards. Now this could keep going for a while. This could keep going for many days and weeks. And it's very hard actually at these times to do any sort of analysis. I think there's a really good chart. It's called the Wall Street cheat sheet, kind of measure out the cycles in which we're in. Actually, can we bring it up? Let me try to bring it up and see if I can find it. That's the Wall Street cheat sheet. There we are. So let me show you this. There we go. So we are pretty much in the same state as this chart. So where do you guys think we are at the moment? And there we go. Now people talking about crypto as well. So if we open this, sorry about that. If we open this full screen, all right. Oh, okay. Well, let me try to open another one. No. Okay. Well, can't open it for some reason. But my main, oh, actually, this isn't Twitter, so. Okay, let me go. All right, cool. So this is the chart I was talking about, and if you guys take a look at this, this is from TheAlgoOracle and TheCoinOracle, really good channel to follow on Twitter. So this is pretty much where we're at today. We got into anger and we fell deep down after this downtrend, and we're seeing these spikes up a couple of times now. And ideally, this is a cycle that we see many times. And what's going to happen now likely is going to trend sideways, probably towards the downside. And then people are going to start thinking, no, that is it. And then we're going to get into disbelief once we start going up again, and then people start going to be hopeful. Now, the time in which we want to get in, it's now. These are the times in which we want to start looking at buying, we want to start looking at accumulating. It's not once we are trending back up. That's when retail is going to go up and you're going to have no time and you're going to be trapped again. So if I go back to the charts, what I expect this to happen and what could happen in the charts is that we could very well touch the support zone. So we have one strong support zone here, which is the 34,000, and you can see down here. So if we just bring this down a little bit, you can see that we have a very strong support zone down here, which is the 30,000 zone. So we could very well bounce down to the 30,000 or bounce back to this long-term trend line. So ideally, what I think is likely to happen is that we're going to bounce back and forth for a while here, maybe break it down below. That's when we're going to go down in depression, and then we're going to start ramping up, get to disbelief, and continue the cycle. This is, the most likely following this type of pattern. This is what could happen. So in terms of, if we look at the short term,
Can you hear me?
hello, yep.
Okay. I think the live is still going. Yeah, it's all good.
All right, cool. Let's keep the show going. Technical problems are part of this. If you can make my head slightly smaller, I would appreciate it.
1 second.
All right, cool. There we go, guys. All right, thank you. Thanks for holding out. All right, can you give me control again, just so I can go with the charts?
Well, I want to make you pretty. 1 sec.
No, it's fine. Let's keep going. I think people can see me well enough.
Yeah, just go a little bit to the. Oh, that's not good. Okay, that's your name there. Wait, let me try to do this. 1 sec.
That's good. That's good.
Amazing. Okay, you have the control now. Go ahead.
All right. Cool.
Do you have the control?
No, I don't.
Sorry, guys. Screen 1, share, remote control, give mouse.
All right, cool. Am I good? Yeah. Okay. All right, cool. We are back. All right, I'm back in control. Thanks, guys.
Well, last thing. Sorry. At least I
What's
want
going
to
on?
make it resides again.
I mean, I can start doing charting as you possibly do that. No?
I mean, there's only one mouse. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, okay, cool, thanks. All right, cool. Sorry about that. So let's get going again. Let me resize the charts a little bit. So what we look at in this sort of scenarios, it's the stochastic RSI and the RSIs, right? That's the best indicator that we have to try and find an entry point and try to understand if it's a good time to enter the market. And now we are at this support zone. So if we take a look at the support zone that we have, we are touching the support line, and the RSI is fully reset. So we're reset pretty much at 0, which means that from here, technically speaking, we are very likely to see at least a bounce up, or we could very slowly hover towards the downside. The RSI itself is still in the mid zone, so I wouldn't be that bullish. I would wait a little bit longer until the RSI actually drops. But you can see here, whenever the RSI is low, then we usually see a pump up. Whenever we are at the lowest point on the RSI, then we see a pump upwards. And if you couple together the RSI and the stochastic, that's usually what you see. So let me show a couple of altcoins as well. We talked about Phantom and Andre Cronje leading Phantom that caused this big dip that we saw the other day. I was talking today with the Phantom Discord, and we're asking them, do you think it's going to be a long-term impact of him leaving? What's going to happen to Phantom? And of course, Phantom is a really strong project, really strong ecosystem. And this is a good opportunity to buy Phantom, actually. If you look at the price historically, we are at one of the lowest levels. It's the support level, and we've not been at this point since September last year. So it's really good. There is all the RSIs are reset. So if you're looking for entering right now, and possibly in the next couple of days, we could very well see a pump to the resistance again. And if Bitcoin is going to trade sideways, then I expect most altcoins to also trade sideways in between this zone. But still, we're looking at a good probably 20-30% inside trends. So if you look at here and we look at price range, we're looking at, actually 56%, right? So we are in this downtrend channel, but the upside of the channel is about 30% away from where we are now. And if you're a long-term investor, you can tell us cost average in this. One good signal that we can wait to see on Phantom and this kind of tokens, this kind of coins, is usually when we break the RSI. So right now the RSI, it's kind of trending low, and it's in line with the price trending low as well. Whenever we break that for the upwards, that's going to be a very strong sign. AVAX, I think we are in a similar position. We're trending sidewards. We just broke the uptrend resistance, so we broke it 2-3 times. And we are now just trading on literally the downside of this. It used to be the resistance line, so this is pretty good. I'm pretty happy with that. We may keep trading down, but as long as we stay above the line, I think that's going to act as support. And it is trading in a bit of a downtrend channel as well, towards some of the lowest points. AVAX is one of the ones that has shown incredible strength whenever it moved. So it's something to keep in mind. If you're thinking about doing a couple of short-term trades, definitely consider AVAX in your portfolio. And if we trace a couple of extra lines down here, we can see that this is our current channel, right? So this is the channel in which we're moving. So if I just remove these ones to make it a bit clearer, we're moving in this channel here. And now we're just kind of at this midpoint trying to hold resistance. The RSIs are somewhat reset. I wouldn't FOMO in right now. Definitely check what's going on with the project as well. Ethereum, there has been a lot of very bearish news for Ethereum in the space. A lot of analysts saying this will actually retrace all the way back to $2,000 or even $1,500. But if you're a believer in the space, Ethereum on the long term is absolutely going nowhere. It's staying here for the long run. And we are about to touch, a support zone, a very strong support zone at $2,400. So if you're thinking about entering on Ethereum, that could be a really good entry. Below that point, I would agree with most analysts, we're going to fall back to $1,700. That's the next support, and likely we're going to bounce back quite strongly from that point. Right, so this is the main coins. I think we can take a look at a few others. We had a table, a watch list for the ones looking closely. So we're looking at Luna. Luna has been doing some incredible moves lately. Very, very overheated. We've been absolutely lunatics on our channels. We've been talking about it on Discord and recommending everyone to look into it. And one thing though that I would say, this is extremely overheated in a market that is extremely volatile. So don't FOMO buy into Luna right now, right? If you didn't get in early, if you didn't get in when Russia invaded Ukraine, don't get in today. That's that's my point of view. Wait for entry point, and looking at possible entry, I would say that a good entry would just be about at $70 right now, and then we have very, very strong support at $50. I was taking a look at 1 inch, so a lot of altcoins are in this situation in which we're looking for this downtrend line, so you can see here, and we're looking for that break. We're looking for the breakout. Once we see that breakout, that's our confirmation to get it. So don't FOMO on these coins, just wait for confirmation. And that's what I'm waiting for here. And then, we have our first entry point, and we have our take profits. I'm going to share this chart, of course, whenever we can, and whenever on a daily basis on Twitter as well. We took a look at Super. So of course, talking about the metaverse, this is now back to support. It broke really strongly. So we had a signal for entry here, and we took profits here at the first level of 124. So that was, a good 40% profits. So definitely recommend following our channel if you want to get great insight on these trades. And then from there, we went down together with the rest of the market, and now we're at support again. So really good entry point. I think now we can trace a slightly longer term line. So we may move sideways for a little bit longer. We've seen Ultra. This was a great move during the invasion at the beginning of the Russian invasion. At this point, Ultra actually retraced about 40% upwards, and it's now been trending sideways. It's trying to keep support, and I think anything that has to do with gaming in the metaverse is gonna see very strong momentum when it starts moving. And as soon as we get in our season, we've seen Veracity. So if you know what Veracity is a streaming platform for gaming. We actually put a entry point just here with a stop loss at 118, and that's been holding the theory so far. So we'll see how it plays out. And as soon as they start moving upwards, it will move very strongly, very similar to US. Let me see if I got anything else. Do you want something specific that I should be talking about? Anything interest that you want to bring up?
No, I just wanted to say that in general, most of the small cap coins, they're very, very underwater right now. So the upside potential is very high. Like the price is literally on a dumpster. So this is where like real money gets made. Like right now, when the internet is very low, all coins are crashed. I'm following very close all the metaverse coin, which I think is one of the in the gaming space. I know as a macro theory that it's gonna boom very soon, and I see coins down like 10x from all-time high, market cap of like 10 million, and I know the moment this bull run is gonna pick up is that easy like life-changing money. So this is the moment where millionaires are made. So stick to the space, and yeah, that's my advice. I think you can go to my portfolio.
Yeah, definitely.
There's some.
Yeah, I'll take a look at that in a sec.
Yeah, okay.
One thing I want to say was like Polkadot, I've been following quite closely. There is some actually big interest from companies, banks, and corporations. Been a couple of news today about, I think, Goldman Sachs looking into Polkadot. Double checking that. I may be getting the wrong bank, but
they asking for
Polkadot,
from the chat. What is the difference between a stochastic RSI and RSI? I'm sorry to interrupt. My bad. Next time we
Yeah, no, that's a great question. We looked into it the other day. So it's most of the difference is the way it's calculated. So stochastic RSI, it's we use a stochastic curve and a stochastic approach to calculate the values. But in short, what it means is you look at stochastic RSI when you want to look at something very short term. So you're looking at resets short term. If you're looking at the RSI indicates momentum on the long run, right? So if you look at the long term, you will look at the RSI, you look at the long run and see on the long term, when is the RSI moving? So you can see here actually from this chart, this is pretty good. You can see the stochastic RSI, it's basically trading the movement and it goes to the top whenever we have a strong move. So up here, for example, we had a very minor move to the upside compared to this massive one that we see here on the left. But the stochastic RSI just simply signaled that move compared to the last period of time. And to the last period of time, that was a significant move upwards. So we went on the upside. And if you look at the RSI, for example, the RSI move wasn't that strong. If you look at here, what happened here, we went from a value of 41 all the way up to a value of 68. And that's what happened in this space. And if you look at here instead, we just barely moved, right? We barely moved from 40 to 43. So stochastic RSI, it's a much better indicator on the short term, and on the daily chart, especially if you're looking for entry, just wait for the stochastic RSI to be as low as possible. And if your RSI is not, overbought, so if the RSI is not a 60, then you're good. RSI just stands for relative strength index. So it tells you how strong the price movement is, how strongly the price is moving.
Yeah, it almost seems to me that it's like the stochastic RSI is telling you the strength of the RSI itself. Almost like when the moves is going upwards.
That's one way to say it, I guess. Yeah.
As much the move is actually upward sloping, or how much strength there is in their move. So if it's a small move, you will see the stochastic RSI in comparison to the last moves just do a small one. If it's a big one, just top the signal itself.
Yeah, I'd agree. That's a good way of saying it. And yeah, I mean, Polkadot is a really interesting trade as well. It's one of the lowest point on a year trend all the way back to 2018. So it's a really good point for accumulation if you're long on Polkadot. And we're going to see many of the parachains coming up, and we're already seeing many of them. So it's a really interesting project.
Yeah, Polkadot is an amazing project. Like from a blockchain sense point of view, is like literally one of the most interesting one. Like each single parachain is basically a shard. It's a kind of technical term of just saying a parallel. They're called parachains, so it's like parallel blockchain itself, and the main chain is actually Polkadot that works with the connectivity. Every single shard of parachain is a small blockchain that gets the security from the main one, in which a protocol ecosystem can work. So it's very, very scalable. And I think it's one of the best ones because all the blockchain proof of stake, even Ethereum, are moving to sharding. But then the way they are actually implementing sharding, for example, Harmony One has different shards, and people can use the shard depending on the need. Every shard has less or more activity, but in this case it's actually separation. Each shard is for a kind of application or protocol itself. For Ethereum, for example, would be in one shard is going to be the smart contract execution, in the other shard is going to be just the storage of the data, so that you kind of try to see this scalability way of scaling the base layer. Polkadot is one of the best architecture I see at the moment. Very solid project.
Yeah,
just starting picking up now, and keep an eye on it.
Agreed. I switched your watch list. So the first one we look at was the NetVRK. So people don't know what it is. I think it's the only one, the biggest one for virtual reality metaverse. And they're doing a lot of partnership.
I think is one that mixes up every single most trading kind of how do you say topic at the moment. So it's mixing up like metaverse, VR, gaming, crypto gaming all together in one, and it's a very, very strong project. It was developing 5 years already before even this trend in crypto picking up. You can see that they have we don't have right now time to go through the website. They have the amazing patterns. Everything looks amazing. It's a very undervalued. Like if you see the big ones,
it's a really small market cap as well.
Yeah. If you see the big ones now, they have like billions, and this one they haven't launched yet, but it looks much, much more neat. And
agreed. Let's jump on the chart sec. So one thing we're looking at this week that was invalidated, and I shared with you guys on Discord, was this side moving channel, upwards moving channel actually, and we're looking at the upper band, lower band. It was nearly mathematical the way it was moving, and this was invalidated last week. So we got out of any trades open on this. And what's happening here at the moment is that it's kind of going back to this support zone. So, if you're looking at an entry point, this is a possible entry point, and we have this new resistance line here on the daily. And if you break, then we are back down to the 113 resistance, 113 support point. So in terms of entry, as soon as there is confirmation, we break this downtrend line. That could be a really good entry point. So definitely, don't FOMO now, wait for that breakout. And then it may be very well that we will see it kind of trading at these levels for a little longer and then breaking a downsending triangle. And then usually that's broken with a lot more strength. So we may see something like this. All right,
As
cool. So let's
as
take.
an observation, I would be very careful trading these small caps at the moment. I mean, they definitely
Absolutely, yeah.
when there is a swing on the market, like you can see, the swing is very high as well. But then most of the liquidity in this cases goes to the big ones. Like in the last period, like Bitcoin is very undervalued, like as a way, like it's not moving a lot. But then when this kind of situation, when the market starts to slow down, all the liquidity gets sucked out of the small caps and goes to the big ones. So the crazy gains are usually seen in small caps happen later on the cycle. So when you see
Yeah,
confirmation
yeah, yeah.
of big caps, Bitcoin moving, doing its move, then you know that's the moment to actually go in this strong small cap project.
Absolutely. Yeah, just taking a look, a couple more charts. Free mark. Oops, got the wrong tool selected. So this is also completely bottom out, as you were saying. Maybe a bit of trouble. Right, cool. So this is also completely bottom out, as you were saying earlier. You know, most of these odds are being bottoming out fairly quickly. If I can select the right tool, I'm going to get back to the chart. Just give me 1 second. Yeah, that's what I want. Can I move? Okay, cool. So we're basically getting back into that long-term
They all look
support zone
amazing
as
as an
well.
entry point, literally.
They all
Even
look
if you
really
start
good,
this
and I
DCA
think
now, like it's still a good. If you think the project has a
I
long-term
think I think
potential.
we have to remember to remember that we can go lower and we can trade sideways for a very long time, right? But yeah, if you're interested in the project and you want dollar cost average, it's a good point. And especially, if we start moving to the upside, that's when gains are going to be made. What I find really interesting, if we go back to the chart that I pulled up before, this is literally where we are, guys. We are in the zone. We are into this classic pattern, and we are going to move probably sideways for a little bit longer before we start trending upwards. I don't expect this, to make a millionaire in a couple of months. This is going to take time, but this is where you want to start thinking about entering. This is when you want to be focused on the space. You don't want to walk away now because everything is going down. This is exactly when you want to walk in. If you walk in only when things start going up, you miss the train already. Yeah, I think that's it. Let's look at a couple more, but I think we should probably close up. So this was Vulcan Forged, great project as well. They have their own gaming studio, their own blockchain, their whole metaverse. Really interesting one. This is also currently kind of downtrending as everything else. There's a really strong support line that we're just about to touch. So, the same way we touched it in mid-January, and then during the conflict with Ukraine and Russia, this may very well happen again now to March, and then we may see another push on the upside. As soon as we break this trend line here, that has been known since mid-January, then we're probably going to see a much stronger moves toward the upside. So I would just wait for the other side to settle down a little bit longer, a little bit more, and then start dollar cost averaging your entries. That's it. I don't really have much else to share. I'm going to share more charts on Discord, so definitely don't forget to join the Discord. We're doing a whitelisting of our NFTs, and I'll show you actually a few of them. We got them up on our channel. So if you're seeing, and you should definitely subscribe to our YouTube channel, these are our NFTs. We're whitelisting people on our Discord now to get an NFT. And once you add your NFT, you will basically be part of our community. You will add your password to our community, you will access to our automated trading system, to our algos, group investments, to all sort of different activities that we carry in our DAO. So definitely, recommended to join our Discord and at least check them out. And before we conclude, I want to tell you some very interesting piece of news for any festival entities out there. So Tomorrowland, which is one of the biggest festivals on the planet of EDM music, is dropping their NFTs. This is not fake news. They're actually doing this. We reached out to them today. They actually said that they would be willing to do an interview with us. That would be absolutely amazing. The drop is going to happen on the 26th for the public sale, and you're going to have to be on a whitelist, on the allow list, and it's actually not that bad to get in if you go on the Discord now. They actually opened the list today for the first people to join the Discord, and we're going right away.
I think now you're very early. The Discord just opened today, and they opened the allow list for 1 hour during the midday, and they were saying they're gonna open again tonight or this afternoon. So maybe you still this is the type of opportunity when it's very easy to get on the white list. But then
this is also a good reason to be in our Discord as well. If you were in our Discord, you would have seen this at the beginning. we'll turn. And in terms of Alders, what does this do for you if you buy the NFT? So Alders of the NFT collection will be taken in a much good journey and get guaranteed a spot on the allowed list for the next drop. They can take part in airdrops, raffles, contests. So, if you take part to the festival, like I'm definitely going again this year, booked my tickets already. It's an amazing festival. Please do it once in a lifetime, if not more. I'm sure they're going to start integrating NFTs a lot more, and they're going to do a lot of, in-person events, online events. It's definitely a good opportunity. And, even if it turns out not to be that such amazing perks, it's still really good to get involved in such an early time opportunities in the space. They're the first people, some of the big players in the music space to do their tickets like this. In terms of the roadmap, if you go on the website, they kind of explain what they're going to be doing with the NFTs. And then if we check out their dedicated Twitter page, they released a bit of a sneak peek today, just to make it look what the NFTs will look like. They're going to launch with FTX, so I'm not sure if they're going to be on OpenSea at the beginning, and they're going to be launched on Solana. I think the minting price is free Sol, so not that expensive. I mean, it depends. It depends on what you define as expensive, but in terms of NFTs in general, not too expensive. Right, I think this is it from me. Anything else you want to add before we close the call?
I think from the chat they were asking what will the Oracle's NFTs allow us to do, and then there was another question: do they have a different programming language? I don't know about what was related at the moment. Oh yeah, do you want to address the first one? I mean, I can go ahead.
Yeah, I can. I mean, it can only do one to you and one. Do they have a different programming language? I wonder if that's the question to the NFTs or the question to our platform. So the NFTs per se, the CoinOracle have wrote the code in terms of how the code works. It's done in Solidity, going to be in Ethereum. We're going to try to make the minting cheaper as soon as we can, moving it to Immutable X. It's something we started, but I don't think it's there yet. It was taking us a bit too much time to do it. The question was about Polkadot. So
I think you can implement in any programming language. I'm pretty sure. I watched an interview with.
I mean, you definitely can. Yeah,
I think it was any programming language.
You could incorporate. Go again.
I think it's in any programming language in Dot.
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
Every single Powerchain is different, is customizable. So I think every single Powerchain can choose their structure of writing smart contract and everything. I'm not sure, but
a couple of hints.
I think most of the programming languages.
I'm speaking to people in chat. If you want to take Akala and Moonbeam, there are two different projects, two of the biggest ones. And you will definitely find out. You look at their GitHub, you will find out what language they use is. But most likely, there's many different languages you can use for this, especially for writing the contracts. They don't have to be the same. I don't think Polkadot has a defined. It's mostly around JavaScript, so a lot of the Polkadot protocols are written in JavaScript. But there is a lot of variation. You probably write everything in TypeScript and so on.
It says Rust here. I think in general in crypto, the two main programming languages are Solidity for Ethereum and Rust for everything else. Like in the Cosmos, Luna ecosystem, even Solana, and I think Polkadot as well. I thought it was you can actually choose any type of languages, but then Rust is the second.
I think it depends. It depends what you're looking at as well. If you look at the wallets, for example, in Polkadot, the wallets are JavaScript based. So the wallet itself is JavaScript. It's called Polkadot.js. That's what the wallet is. There is different languages involved. Right. I don't have anything else to add. The other question was, what would the passport allow us to do? I think the answer to that, we'll give you access to our community. Definitely join the Discord. There is a full script there on what the passport
we are a group of developers and content creators, some economists as well. So as developers, we're working on creating a dashboard for all the trading signals, like bringing, collecting everything that we look at, like for example derivatives or macro data, or also all the opportunities of pre-sale or IDOs. And in the future we aim to create one of the best, the DAO, the investment DAO. So most of the funds will go to a central treasury a central vault, and you will be able to vote on how to use the fund with your NFT itself, and you can definitely access all the different tools that we are developing and we aim to develop in the future.
All right, cool. I think that's it. Well, thank you guys. Thank you for following. And as I always say, I'll see you in the next video.
So guys.